Welcome everyone to another video for my current Katsu deck. Now the story behind this one, you know that I've been testing quite a lot with Katsu and trying to get the generic cards to work. Then we had the tournament coming up that night, and I just sat down. I was like, you know what, I want to make the competitive deck again, what everyone expects with Katsu. And so I took the time, not as much time mind you, about 10 minutes. I just ran through some cards, quickly pulled some out, and I don't know what came over me, but I made a pretty consistent deck. Now, as the night went, I lost the first game, won the other two, and it's been consistent like that, where I usually lose the first game. And in that first game, when I go and repeat the game with the opponent, I say, look, we've got time, can we just have another game? And I take a different tact, but with the same deck, I end up winning. So a better pilot than me will most likely make this deck really shine. Although I am getting better. Even Warrior, my hardest matchup. Now, it wasn't against our top Warrior player, but the Warrior player beat me. Then we went into a second game, and at that point I was able to beat the Warrior. Now, it was like with one life left, but it was still a win, yeah? Everyone remembers the win. So I wanted to go over the Katsu deck with you. I'm open to any changes or anything else, or just your general thoughts on what you would do. Now, I am using FaB database. It is a fantastic site. You should get to it, fabdb.net. As you can see, I've got all the cards up here on the screen. I'm a Patreon member, soon to hopefully be a supporter of the site. Well, I am as a Patreon member anyway. And with the Patreon, you also get the vision of the cards and not just the written text of the card. So it's a fantastic site. You really should be using it. It really makes deck building a lot easier, so you can see everything in front of you. Like, minimum is $3 a month, and then it goes up to $9 a month. So, you know, even at the minimum, you're getting this beautiful visage. Like, look at this, fantastic. So let's just go through the deck. Like I said, interested in your thoughts. It's my current Katsu deck for standard format. So, Harmonized Kadashis, not mucking around with the needles in this one. Fiendal Spring Tunic, it's just a better threat against the opponent. If this is surviving late into the game, it can block for one and it's providing energy, and it's always a threat. As is Mask, the next card that's on there. Breaking Scales, pretty good. I've been thinking about putting other stuff there as well, but Breaking Scales really works well when you really need that one over. Sometimes the opponent misses it, or they cannot just combo that extra one with everything else you've got going on. And I usually try and leave it to last. And the one defense is fantastic. I hate games where I use this and haven't used the defense first. It just seems like a waste. Snapdragon Scalers comes in very important as we go through the cards. You'll see. Next load of cards, we've got Command and Conquer. Look, nothing more needs to be said. It's pretty much found in just about every deck that I see played. Just about, yeah. And it is a threat. You know, they can't use the defense reactions. They're most likely going to lose that Arsenal card. Plunder Run. Been finally getting it to work. I have been waiting on my turns and just throwing it into my arsenal, even on turns where, like, I feel like I have to play it. I usually just either pitch it for later game use or throw it into arsenal for an even better turn, yeah, the next turn. Ravenous Rabble, it's got the go again. That's the reason why I use it. It really doesn't matter what the attack is. I don't care if it's a 2, 3. A 4 is great. You know, I'm always looking for the 4, but even at a 2 or 3, it's still an extra attack. It's still another card out of their hand. Now, I have gone a Torrent of Tempo line, half a Torrent of Tempo line in here. I find that it's a fantastic card. At yellow, it's 4 attack. At red, it's 5. It really puts the pressure on the opponent. I don't usually see to be playing this as a first card ever. It's usually third card along or later. Scar for a Scar hasn't been as useful for me, only when I'm at lower life. I usually find that with this deck I'm defending more, although when I do find myself on lower life, this is fantastic. I have come into trouble before with Kadashi putting them at equal life, so you really just got to detail when to use this. But if you're on lower life and you play this as your third card, pretty good, especially if you've got a Razor Reflex in your hand as well. Ancestral Empowerment, not much needs to be said. It's just a great card, and just about every single one of your attacks other than Command and Conquer in this deck is a ninja attack card. Yeah. Flick Flax. Look, the red Flick Flax can't be beat. Even over Sink Belows, I think the +2 on any combo card to defend is just amazing. I do have the Sink Belows in here as well to get, you know, that option for putting cards under and for more defense reactions. And the blue Flick Flax, which you might wonder at, but they're great for energy. They are a 0 cost for Katsu's ability, and they're still giving +2 on any other combo cards when you need it. So their versatility for the discard or the pitch value is what it's really in there for, as well as giving +2 combo. You know, when you even play a blue down, your opponent has to think about their next attack, whether they've got go again or they've got another action, whether the next card you play with combo is going to get that +2 and whether it's worth attacking, or you know what they're going to do with it. So it's always playing in the opponent's mind. It's a great card. Surging Strike, I've got this as part of my main attack line. You'll notice that I'm not playing blues. I don't know what was going through my head at the time when I was making it. I'd had 4 hours sleep. I'd been up for something like, I don't know, 16 hours or something at that state. But you know what? It's working wonders. At a 2 cost for a blue, I'm using these for the attack. Yeah, I'm trying not to pitch these. Now, in saying that, early game, if I'm getting red Surging Strikes, I most likely am pitching them for Kadashi and trying to throw down other cards into my deck for a later game. I'd rather get through my other cards first, but it really depends. I really like the Torrent of Tempo line near the beginning of the game and finishing it up with the Surging Strike line later in the game. If I do find these cards in hand and I'm having to block or do something else with them, I prefer getting rid of the yellows if I can, especially if you're going to set up a Lord of Wind mid-game. You know, goodness knows what cards you're getting at the beginning of the game and what you're doing with them. You need to adapt. It's the problem that I'm finding in my first games, adapting to the meta and the game, while all the other games have been going fine. So once I hit that first game, I'll be right, I think. Now, yeah. So always thinking about when you're looking to go for your Lord of Wind chain and what's in the deck, because I've been finding that I haven't been pitching as much, I haven't been discarding as much, I've been pitching my attacks more, which makes Lord of Wind a lot weaker. Yeah, 3 cards instead of 6. So just something to think about. Going on with other attack cards and Light and Strike, it's just so versatile. I did take it out of the deck quite a lot. I've been finding that I'm blocking with it or using for a pitch value because late game it's amazing. Then again, with certain decks, especially with the Torrent of Tempo line, that kicks into effect, and Light and Strike can just be a killer for the opponent, and I'll go into that as we hit the later combo for the Torrent of Tempo. Whelming Gustwave, nothing more needs to be said. The fact that it's a threat in regards to drawing a card makes all single one of those colors usable. Red, yellow, even blue. Blue's attacking for 1 attack, but you know it's so annoying. Gets a card out of the opponent's hand. Use it for energy, or not energy, pitch value, or use it for Katsu's ability as well. So, you know, the Whelming Gustwave, one of the most versatile cards for Ninja if you're playing that chain. Or even if you're not playing the chain, if you're able to just play Surging Strike and Whelming Gustwave, it's a fantastic combo to lead into other combos. Big threat. Razor Reflex, we all know it. It's a great card, especially in Ninja. Sink Below, just for more defense reactions as you need. Art of War, now this is a card that has stayed in for now. I usually use it for the block value, to give cards that +1 extra block and to get 2 extra cards in hand. I will admit I have not been very efficient or very good at using Art of War. I've seen other people use Art of War to great effect. I wish I had that skill and I hope to learn it. It's staying in the deck for now, but it is one of the first cards to come out. Alright, Flood of Force and Rushing River together, okay? Now, if you play Rushing River and you've got Flood of Force either in your arsenal or in your hand as well, you need to crack these Snapdragon Scalers and keep this going. First turn, due to this combo, I usually have taken my opponent down to 29 life after the first turn, doing Kadashi, Rushing River, Flood of Force to pick up another combo, which has usually been another Flood of Force. I usually Katsu after like a Rushing River that they seem to allow through, picking up a Flood of Force. I've just been lucky enough the other times to have Flood of Force in hand as well. So I've gone Flood of Force, seen the next card, it's another combo, and I play that. It's huge, yeah? The opponent's trying to keep their hands, they can't keep it. Your combo is 7 cards long. It's amazing. Especially on the first turn, to put someone down onto 29 life when you're sitting, you know, on your 40, it really is demoralizing and forces them into really playing hard, but that gives you some leeway and some life to play around with as well. So I'm really loving this, and I only play the yellows. I don't know why I made that decision. I really don't. The blues were too weak, I found, I guess in my head, and the reds weren't giving enough pitch value, so yellow sits nicely in that. Salt the Wound, another fantastic card, especially after the Flood of Force line, especially if they've allowed a Kadashi through, they've allowed a Rushing River, 2 Flood of Forces through, Salt the Wound hits the table, it's doing 4 to 5 damage. They really don't expect it, and yeah, there's no go again after it, but it really is the finisher card right at the end of a combo. It's fantastic. Migenshi Release. Look, you really are saving up your combos, your attack reactions for that. I'm finding that I'm not playing my attack reactions on Whelming Gustwave, whether I draw the card or not, unless I really need the card. People are really blocking hard into Whelming Gustwave and they're leaving something special for Migenshi. You know what? If you're leaving your specials, such as Ancestral Strike and Razor Reflexes, for the Migenshi to get the Lord of Wind out, that's what's important, yeah? Springboard Somersault, got 2 of these in the deck. I have been getting a lot better at using it, getting it into the arsenal, because out of the arsenal it's only a 2 block, it's not that great, so you need to get into arsenal, or you need to be pitching it for the 2 resources that it gives, or using the Katsu ability with it, up to you. Reinforce the Line, once again, either use it for the pitch, trying not to use it for Katsu's ability unless I have to. Depending on the deck that I come up against, especially Warrior, ask for their total, attack reactions. Are you finished? Are there any more to play? No? We're done? Excellent. Play Reinforce the Line. They cannot respond to it. That +3 onto one of your combat cards is fantastic. Yeah? Let's leave Remembrance just for a sec. Head Jab, just a versatile card overall. Go Again, 3 pitch, doing the 1 damage, and can be used for Katsu's ability. It's fantastic. Lord of Wind, you know what it does. Fantastic card as well. So Remembrance, I've kept it in the deck mainly to get cards back in there. Maybe I want Flood of Forces back in there, Rushing Rivers. Really depends on the game state at the time. Maybe in Lightning Strikes, or to threaten more Command and Conquers. Depending on how we've gone, how much red is left in the deck, or what's been thrown out so far for blocking or for Katsu's ability. In saying that, if it's getting late game, and I've pitched this to do 2 Kadashis and it's getting late game, I'm hoping to hell not to draw that, especially if I'm in a defensive mode. There's been a few games where I'm like praying that this doesn't hit my hand again, because I don't know where in the stack it is, especially after Katsuing and reshuffling your deck. You just don't know, yeah? So like Art of War, this is one of the first cards to come out whenever I'm trying to thin the deck down. opponents. I usually keep all my defense reactions in for warrior, alright? Trying to play any defense reactions out of the arsenal so as not to give him a reprise ability. And then just play the game there. That's the only game that I won against warrior, and it's the way I played it, so it's the way I'm going to continue with it and see how we go. I might consider taking out Art of War or one of the other defense reactions for an unmovable, red unmovable, just for warrior. Against Dash, I take out all the defense reactions, I thin the deck down to 74 cards and try and beat Dash at that level. You need to be quick, you need to be getting your 6 and 7 chain combos off, and yeah, you need to be going that wide, so do everything you can to get that wide. They don't want to block. Viscera I haven't really come across yet. Azalea, look, Azalea doesn't really want to block and she goes fast. I would be inclined to try and rush Azalea and see how good I get. I think that with the ability to go wide as I can with this deck, I would probably take out the defense reactions. I'd want to play it both though. So with our resident Azalea player, if I finally get to play him, Toby, you know who you are, in one of our Thursday games, then yeah, we'll see which one I choose. In regards to Bravo, it's always a tough one. Look, I just don't want to be decked out by Bravo, so I'm keeping the defense reactions in. Reiner, probably keeping the defense reactions in. Anyone that's hitting big, I probably need to keep the defense reactions. I don't want to be running out of cards. Kano and Dash type players, I'm just going full aggro, as thin a deck as I can. And other ninjas, that's really an interesting one. Ooh, you know what? I will try and keep the deck as is, and mainly using cards to block so as not to use up my equipment too early against ninjas. Look, the ninja on ninja battles have been really interesting, very close games, very good players. So I'd like to see ninja more up there in the standard format rather than what we're seeing with the dashes and the warriors, but we'll see how we go. So that's the deck, people. You've got the numbers there for how many in each deck. I know that's been a request in the past, and FaB DB, a site that allows me to do it quite easily without having to go through numbers myself. Interested in your feedback, and yeah, I'll be giving more feedback as this deck evolves. I've been really happy with it. Been hitting third in most tournaments. The last tournament I came fourth, which was quite disappointing. I feel I should have won a game which I lost. But in saying that, we've got weeks ahead to come where I can really tune this deck out, yeah? Alright, it's all about getting the 6 to 7 card combos. Alright guys, have a great one. See you on the next video. Look forward to your responses. See you all.